Right now, -4, -9 with a bit of wind chill in Ottawa.
And we don't have Louis B. Hobson today, but we're lucky enough to have Christopher Redmond, who's a movie maker and movie reviewer here in Ottawa. From DearCastandCrew, Christopher Redmond in studio this morning. Hello, sir.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hi, good to see you. Thank you for being here. And a pick for the weekend, a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's the Friday morning thumb.
Well, I'm going to give a somewhat tortured thumbs up to Zero Dark 30.
Torture.
Fittingly enough.
Yeah, now, the reason is this is a film that is quite good. I have a hard time calling it great. And the title, if you don't know, it's not explained in the film, but it actually refers to sort of half past midnight when they got Osama bin Laden. So this is the story about the hunt for Osama bin Laden. And basically, it's taking a lot of heat because of the use of torture in the film. Now, it's not that the use of torture is really explicit or anything we haven't seen before. It's really just that they use it a lot in the first hour to get information, and there's really no moral counterweight to this tactic. It's sort of just they're really complicit in it, and all the characters, they get what they need, and the story kind of skims through time over 10 years. Everything's just kind of good, and in the end, as we all know, what happens. And so by not really criticizing it, people are saying that you're condoning it. But yeah, but it's quite a good story. Otherwise, I mean, it's hard not to enjoy it on some level. It's quite tense, but really, it's the same story. If you ever watch Homeland with Claire Danes, it's very similar. And so we have this CIA operative who just knows. You know, she just kind of has this intuition. She believes these hunches, and in the end, we all know that she's proven right. So it takes some of that tension away that maybe a movie would have had if you didn't know the ending.
Because you know what's going to happen.
That's right.
But she does it all on hunches, really?
Well, they aren't hunches so much as they are educated guesses, shall we say. So it's a lot of deductive reasoning and her deciding that, no, this lead is, worth pursuing while everyone else is sort of discounting it.
Now, should we be critical of this? It's not a documentary, so...
It's not a documentary, but it's a good fictional film. It's a good account. It's really in the moment, too, and we're almost not separated enough from what happened, maybe to get any perspective on it. So I think what's interesting is this is really just kind of a play-by-play, it feels like, of what happened. Dramatized, obviously, but not really critical of it, not seeing any broader context. But although it does end with a little bit leaving an empty feeling, like it's not that big hurrah moment you sort of expect, but it's sort of, now what?
Okay. So what's another film you want to talk about that's opening?
Well, I'd say another one that might be worth checking out is Gangster Squad. There's really enough to love in this film.
The previews look awesome.
Yeah, the previews look, and it is kind of that cheesy. It's got a lot of this really deliciously pulpy dialogue, delivered by these really carefree characters. So it's about LA that's being taken over by East Coast crime lords. And I mean, you get characters saying lines like, this whole city's going underwater and you're grabbing a bucket instead of a bathing suit, which is really fun. Kind of just enjoy the chaos, right?
That sounds great.
Yeah, and so it's quite fun, and it is extra violent. I mean, it's much more violent than Zero Dark 30, for example.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, if you want to see someone being basically ripped in half, getting their hands cut off, thrown through a window, their faces bludgeoned, eaten by wolves, you get all that in the first 15 minutes. So, yeah, it's all there for you. Yeah, I mean, it gets a little conventional by the end, and that's when you start wishing maybe it was a little more of a noir, because it takes place in the 40s, and you think maybe it's going to do a bit of the film noir thing. It doesn't really. It's just kind of a shoot-'em-up action film, but it's pretty fun.
Okay, all right. Well, before we let you go, we're going to ask you about the Oscars.
Sure, yeah. So while I'm looking at the Oscars, it's pretty good. I mean, we got a great year of films. There's 9 films nominated for Best Picture. Right. And so, not to get too Nate Silver on you guys, but
9?
9,
Does
yeah.
there need to be 9?
Well, it never used to be, right? And that's why it's interesting, is because now there's 9, so they say, well, how are you going to know who's going to win Best Picture now? Right. But again, not to be too Nate Silver, but we can sort of do some math to figure out, okay, who's going to actually take this home? It comes down to 2.
I want to hear this.
So you look at, for example, there's only 5 Best Director nominations, but there are 9 Best Pictures. Now, there's only ever been one film since 1931 that ever won Best Picture without having the director nominated.
Right.
And that's Driving Miss Daisy. And really, who besides Dave watches Driving Miss Daisy at home on weekends? Nobody cares about this film anymore. He's been telling me his secrets, and I'm letting them out on air. But so we can basically eliminate those films. So Zero Dark 30, as I said, director not nominated. Argo, director's not nominated, but a fantastic film, also about a CIA mission. You take out Django Unchained, not nominated, and Les Mis, which had me stiffling like a little 14-year-old girl. So I have to endorse it, but it's not nominated for Best Director as well. Okay. So you take those off, and then you have Amour, which is a French film. which
That
means
won't win.
it's not going to win, right? There's never been a film that's not completely in English, or at least isn't have some English in it that has won Best Picture, so that one's gone.
All right.
Then you have Beasts of the Southern Wild, which, if you remember, I reviewed for you guys when I was at Cannes.
Yeah.
I called it the best film of the year then. It's still the best film of the year. You got to go see this film, but it's kind of an indie film. It's too small, hasn't made enough money.
Right.
It's basically off the table. Then there's Silver Linings Playbook that's also nominated. Got all the actor nominations. I reviewed that for you guys at TIFF. Great, won the audience award, but again, it's just a little too light for the Academy, which leaves us with two films: Life of Pi, beautiful film, based on the book by Jan Martel, really explores big questions about the meaning of faith and all these things. Really great film, great special effects as well.
Right.
Has a chance. And then there's Lincoln, right? This one got the most nominations.
Yeah.
It's really this myth making process for Abraham Lincoln, and in the end, we know the Americans love this story. It really makes him look like a flawless hero, and it's got the most nominations as well. So you put those together, it looks like it could be Steven Spielberg's year.
Okay, all right. From Dear Cast and Crew, Christopher Redmond, local movie maker and movie reviewer. Appreciate your input on this.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
Great. The Friday Morning Thumb. Louis B. Should be back next week. It's 8:17 now.
Ottawa traffic on Live 88.5.
A collision on Meadowlands.